Today we will be debating the subject of right to return of Palestinian refugees.
We will now proceed to roll call. Please confirm your attendance by responding present when I state the name of your delegation. Canada? Just state present. Colombia? Egypt? Present. India? Iran?
Present.
Israel?
Present.
Italy? Portugal? Romania?
Present.
Spain?
Present.
Switzerland? Turkey? United States. The committee will now advance into a perpetual moderated caucus about the right to return Palestinian refugees. Delegates wishing to speak, raise your placards high, and you will have 45 seconds. Israel.
Honorable delegates, I am glad to represent our country. Israel's position is to keep our powerful state, which we built based on some principles. First, principle of equality of nation. As other nations have their own country, the Jewish nation also built their country. Principle of protection Jewish nation from anti-Semitism. For example, Nazi Germany tried to exterminate the Jewish nation. So we built our country in order to protect our citizens. Principle of historical motherland. A lot of archaeologists prove that in territory of Palestine lived Jewish.
Next.
Now we're all here to support and discuss Palestine and Israel problem and the problem of refugees. We can memorize that during this war, 700,000 people gave status of refugee. In 2014, in the military conflict between Israel and Palestinians, 2,251 Palestinians and 73 Israelis were killed. We must memorize that UN was created to support all of them, so I believe that we can solve this problem by negotiation with each other. Thank you.
Next delegation.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Palestinian refugees are people who lost both their homes means of livelihood as a result of the 1948 Arab-Israeli conflict and the 1967 Six-Day War. The number of Palestinians who fled or were expelled from Israel following its creation was estimated at 711,000 in 1949. The delegate of Egypt, alarmed by this conflict and want to support Palestine and support the idea of creation Palestine as an independent state. We're welcome to United States action of creating Jerusalem the capital of Israel in order to stop this conflict. But by this action, they again started conflict. Thank you, the delegate of Egypt, yield time to the chair.
Good afternoon, dear delegates. There were a lot of misunderstanding between two countries, Israel and Palestine, and their allies. While the governments of these countries are still trying to find a solution, the innocent citizens are suffering from aggressive actions of their governments. We have reflected on the past and learned from previous manipulations and decided to take a new course of actions. The United States is ready to provide a platform for negotiations between two opposite sides to recreate a longly awaited peace between two countries. Thank you for your attention.
Today we are here to discuss Palestinian's problem, and you must know that we abstained from votes on Palestinian becoming UNESCO membership. And you just imagine that there are two countries in two nations in one country. The same situation in Israel, and there are about 5 million refugees from Palestine, and if they return, Jews will lose their majority, and Israel won't be Jewish country. And what would you do if that happens to your country? I yield my time.
Good afternoon. In Italy is a country that has been traditionally very sensitive to the Israel-Palestinian cause, and in the past few years, this cause has been true, especially among left-wing and far-left parties. And Italy is pro-Israel and agreed that international players should get involved towards resolving the conflict. And Italy will do its best to help to solve this conflict between Palestinian and Israeli.
Next delegation.
As a representative of India, I just want to mention some facts. As the resolution of UN 181 that was at 1948, it says that in the territory of Palestine, that was a British mandate, they have to be two countries, Arab and Jewish. But nowadays, there is no Palestinian country. I just want to say about my country that, as you know, Pakistan was the part of India. And then we divided it in Islamic and in regional parts, and there was a
As a representative of the delegation, I'm honored to be here, and the reason of our meeting today is to solve another international refugee problem. When in November 29, 1947, UN General Assembly voted to partition Palestine into two states, it has contributed to the occasion for the outbreak of war, because Israel decided misusing this case, got independence and expand its territory at the expense of Palestine's territory. It caused a big problem. Arab states, including the Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, declared war on the building Jewish state. And now what Palestinians want is to make sure that their descendants will live in the home and security.
Good afternoon, dear delegates. I'm a delegate of Switzerland. We all know that in 1948 Israel got independence, but Palestinians disagreed with that. So in 1948 starts Israel and Palestine conflict where Jewish and Arabs were fighting with each other. About 700,000 Palestinian citizens went into exile in 1948. Palestinians say that 5 million of these citizens should have the right to return, not just from Palestinian territories of Gaza and West Bank, but from communities in Jordan, Lebanon, Germany, Chile, and the US. So my country, Switzerland, supposed to solve this conflict at all. I hope that we can do it together.
Any other delegates wishing to speak? Canada?
Dear delegates, I'm glad to see all of you. I'm a representative of Canada. We all know the conflict between the Palestinians and Israel, and all of us come today in order to solve this awful problem. And Palestine says that 5 million of their citizens should have the right to return. I am Israeli representative of the can disagree with this idea, because I support the Israel because every country want to be independent.
Good afternoon, dear delegates. I'm a representative of Spain. We know about conflict Israel and Palestine. I want to say about this problem. The Israel-Palestine conflict is going struggle between Israel and Palestine that began in the mid-20th century. They originated on the conflict between back Jewish immigration and struggle conflict mandatory Palestine between Jewish and Arabs. It has referred as the world's most intractable conflict with ongoing Israel occupation, West Bank and Gaza Strip region. It's going for 41 years. My speech is over.
Good
Good afternoon, dear delegates. I'm here as a representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran. You know that more than 700,000 Palestinian refugees are outside of their motherland. Nowadays, the Palestinian refugees came into their motherland and they want to have right to return their lands. There are also Palestinian population which lives in Israel. 40% of Jerusalem population are Palestinians. The Islamic Republic of Iran officially endorsed the creation of the Palestinian state regarding Palestine as a state. We think that Israel should return the lands of Palestine that was taken from them and stop war. The delegate of Iran yields time to the chair.
Thank you to all delegates. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? Egypt?
The delegate of Egypt motions for unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes in order to discuss the topic right to return of Palestinian refugees.
Are there other points or motions on the floor at this time?
The representative of Spain want to speak about a debate about the occupation of Israel in Palestine land.
Unmoderated or moderated caucus, and for how long?
Unmoderated caucus.
For 15 minutes? Yes.
The Turkey delegate motions for unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes to discuss the right to return of refugees of Palestine.
We will now vote on the motions on the floor. Delegates for the unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes, as advocated by Egypt, please raise your placards. Passed. The floor is yours. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
The United States is willing to provide a federal delegation to countries in Israel and Palestine as a course of actions. The United States is taking a new course of actions.
Another thing, why you moved your embassy from to Jerusalem?
Please stop talking about history now.
It's not history. It happened in 2018.
Okay, if you want to stop war, why you give Israel gun and just for war occupation?
The United States learned from the previous motivations and taking a new course of actions right now.
Really?
We are ready to provide, yes.
Why
Yeah,
support
under
Israel for occupation?
She's
Why
not
you for
supporting
Israel?
not Israel and not Palestine. She mentions that she wants to, the
United
United States wants to.
taking a new course of
Israel.
actions. New course of actions. I don't care about history and
Okay.
what happened. It was previous government.
2018.
It was previous government. Today is new government.
New government, Donald Trump.
No, new government is me. New delegation is
Okay, so
okay.
Israel, please.
I want to support her that no one can have influence between negotiations Israel and Palestine.
We won't solve the problem. We need to live now and decide what will happen in the future. While we're here talking about history, innocent citizens
talk
are
about
suffering.
history. We don't talk about history.
Okay, we don't speak about history.
So what does United
you
States
do
and
in
Israel are ready to do?
What do you want to do?
United States and Israel are for putting Palestine government representatives and Israel representatives. The United States is ready to provide a platform for negotiations, to put them face to face, to discuss everything, to discuss state borders and solve the problem about refugees.
I want to answer to your question.
Yeah.
You said that you asked what Israel is doing now. If we don't find any solutions, any good solutions to solve this problem, yes?
Yes.
And so we protect our borders till.
You don't protect the borders. You
What we
occupation
do?
other land. You control it. 78%
As
of
we mentioned
land of
previous,
Palestine.
Israel and
And
United
control
States are
more
ready. United States think that no one has the right to steer between their relationship.
Okay, you say it's, you want to find this other this person in Israel. Why you say you want one country independent and Palestine going? Will be one Israel.
Yeah, he mentioned it
why?
in his speech.
Why they say this? Why?
preposition.
Please don't fight on Israel. Of course, there was a lot of misunderstanding in the past, previous history, but we're here and open for negotiation. That will fit both sides of.
Do you need Pepsi?
So, may I speak?
Yes, sure.
So you say that we have to put them face to face, delegates of Israel and Palestine. But you think that they will speak?
Yeah. He already against it.
What?
Israel already against it. He said
Did I say that?
Will monitor, United States will monitor the situation and will provide a package.
Listen to me. I want to say.
Yeah,
I
okay.
wanted to say that I would keep our country, not build another country. I will keep that we have already built it.
But you know
We
that
built
this
it
is not
from
place for Palestine.
I mentioned 3 principles.
Okay.
Why we built it.
Why?
First, equality between nations. Every nation has, not every, but a lot of, most of nations have their own country that protect their own citizens. So, and
What will happen
second
with-
principle, for example, to build, we built our country to protect our nation from anti-Semitism. It means, for example, Nazi Germany wanted to exterminate our nation. In order to protect our nation, we built it. We built
You want to protect our
our nation.
Your nation, yes, okay.
And third reason is
Dear delegates, please let's sit this chair and decide how to write a resolution. Because our main goal is to write resolutions while we're talking here, in a sense, citizens are suffering. So let's put 2 countries face to face and don't attack each other because it's not productive. As we
So
see
now
from
we also
history,
want to say
it
what
won't
we want
bring
to do.
any efficiency.
Let's listen to them.
So we want to just Jerusalem make a capital of 2 countries.
Like international.
Yeah, Jerusalem.
capital.
First is Palestine, and next is Israel. And we know that Palestine was from historic times. Again, we'll mention history. It's a very old country, and it should have his nation.
Because it's not equality, it's
Moderated caucus with 45 second speaking time, and the fourth is a 10-minute moderated caucus with 30 second speaking time. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time?
The delegate of Egypt motions for moderated caucus for 9 minutes with 45 seconds speaking time in order to discuss the topic right to return of Palestinian refugees.
The delegation of United States motion for 6 minutes of moderated caucus with 45 seconds of speaking time.
The delegation of Turkey supports Egypt with this motion.
We will now move into voting. Delegates in favor of a moderated caucus of 9 minutes with 45 seconds speaking time on the topic of right to return Palestinian refugees, raise your placards high. We will now move into a moderated caucus of 9 minutes with 45 seconds speaking time each. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placards high.
It will support the goal of the constitution of Palestinian state coexisting with the state of Israel in peace, security, and prosperity on the basis of mutual recognition and with a full mutual commitment to a guarantee to the citizens to live in the security and safe from any violence and acts of terrorism, as well as to promote the recognition of Palestine as a democratic state, and with the 1967 boundaries and Jerusalem in the shared capital, taking into full consideration Israel's concerns and interests. Thank you for your attention.
Other delegates wishing to speak, raise your placards high.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The delegate of Egypt supports Palestine, as I mentioned before, and we want our main resolution for this problem is to make Jerusalem capital of 2 countries. Our colleagues from in other countries like Portugal, Switzerland, India, Spain, they all supported us. And in this situation, of course, this conflict is from 1948, and it's really harmful for the whole world, because here we see a conflict between not 2 countries, but even between 2 religions. So we want to stop it in order to make just 2 countries, 2 independent countries. Thank you, the delegate of Egypt, yield time to the chair.
Colombia.
Colombia is also support Palestine and want to be Palestine a democratic country, but I'm not agree with Jerusalem state because we can do the Jerusalem the capital of 2 countries. Jerusalem must be an international land and international town, and no one can dominate it religiously or nationality. This is our point. The Colombia's point.
Other delegates wishing to speak, raise your placards high. India.
As I mentioned before, in 1948, there was a resolution passed from UN 181, and it says that it must be 2 countries, Arabic and Jewish. But still, and Palestine is an autonomy that is in Israel's borders. But there is not, it depends on Israel, and if Israel will give independence, there will be no conflict the representative of Colombia, which said that Jerusalem has to become international city.
Yes.
The delegation of Turkey also supports Palestine, and our delegation wants to Israel to give back the land which has been taken from Palestine. And also I want the delegates to help Palestine to build a strong government and to give them the land.
Spain.
When in 1948, UNHCR starting individual country in Palestine, they want to find home to Jewish refugees. But in this situation, when they are built Israel country, when they are built in Palestine, many Arabic refugees going in other land. They have many refugees in Arabic religion, and they have not a home because they are land of when they live controlling Israel. They are felt or cast out there. That's why they have not a home for them.
We solved it by dividing these two countries into two independent states. So what the delegation of the United States proposes now is to do such thing to recreate peace in these two countries. While we are open for negotiations, and we can take all the ideas of delegates if you have any. And what is our advice is to put face to face these two delegations and let them discuss everything and take hands off of these two countries. Thank you for your attention.
The delegation of Israel is supporting the United States, and I want to add that no one can have influence to them, and if they want to separate their lands, we should discuss by ourselves. No one can have an influence to even Israel and even to Pakistan. Thank you for it.
If you look to the past, UN decided to separate Palestine and Israel. But if you look now, it's continued to fighting between two countries. And because they have different religions, different outlook of people, and I disagree to separate and divide it only two countries in order to be independent, because if you look now, the fighting between two countries is continuing.
That marks the end of this moderated caucus. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time?
A motion for a moderated caucus for 10 minutes to discuss the problem of refugees in Gaza.
The delegation of Portugal's motion for a non-moderated caucus for 15 minutes in order to discuss the topic, right of return of Palestinian refugees.
Iran.
The delegation of Iran supports Portugal for motion for unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes.
United States.
So the delegation of the United States makes a motion to unmoderated caucus for 20 minutes.
We will now move into the voting procedures. Delegates who support moving into an unmoderated caucus of 15 minutes to discuss the right of return of Palestinian refugees, raise your placards high. This motion is passed.
As the United Nations made it before, it was easy and necessary to stop
They must be part of the plan. Their economy will be destroyed. And soon will be
finding a job. For example, in ERC, there are some private, big private companies. Do you think that these organizations are Jewish? Yes. Do you think that they provide to Palestinians? Do you think Palestine people who don't have no job and they will be poverty, right? Because there are a lot of non-governmental companies. 5 million. Imagine there are I don't a lot of people would say that years ago is a charming place in order to find good life. If a lot of people are Palestinians, yes. If a lot of people Russia, very Russian, it's also in negotiations, and so what we are doing is now for our logic, if we maximum 50 on 20. Maximum 15.
You need to return to 90.
Just imagine. If you in the time,
Okay, actually, because Israel
Давайте, пусть она подпишет.
Supported by many countries. UNHCR, ERC.
I'm talking about independent borders of Palestine states. You know, if you will give you this, it will be united and like South.
We cannot have a risk.
Now you don't have
The map is like
people
this.
here,
It's
you know?
in 19.
Listen,
Yes.
if you have studied at the Google map, the refugees from Palestine are situated here in Lebanon, Greece, and they won't get Jordan, and they won't be able to come here. It's better than if they come here from this place, you know? It's better than nothing.
What if you give its part? It will be better for you and for us.
Just take it and put it there.
Yes.
You think about your
Listen, your land is looking right now.
Do you know that Palestine population is 9 million?
Israel is continuing to fight.
9 million
If
people
you will lose your territory.
You
And
have
now
no refugees or citizens.
45. It will be super if they will give this border. Not how this, but how this. It's how this.
Seriously.
Yes, good for us.
Chapter looks like this, and nowadays Israel is going.
See, to the history, your land was like this.
Yeah, you know that your land is like this. It will be past and future we will be.
We are giving you 40%. What you want?
It's not 45%. It's 35%.
We are giving you 40%. Okay, 40.
Look, if we'll be look here, how this, we will be agree with you.
Like, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. Look, we are giving you like this.
If we'll be give how this will be super, you know.
But it will have to.
You have more land
it
than
only
our.
looks like this. No?
You don't think about economy. You must live about life of refugee.
That's okay? Yes.
It's not 40.
It's few. You know, it's, if will be houses. 60%.
We are giving you 40%. What you want?
45.
Initially it was in 30. Yeah, we agreed.
Yes. 45.
40.
It's 45. Look how this.
It's 40.
Look how
okay.
this. You know, 45%.
We were going to you have
we give,
and there is going to be exchange of refugees.
Guys, can you think about?
We will be give this part of land.
Yes,
but we
let's
separating. But what about?
You asked 45%.
What about the result?
50%
what will happen next?
We want 50-50.
Okay, we separated.
No, 60-45.
We gave
60-45.
It's not how
No.
We 55 and 45.
We gave 45%.
55 and
45. Okay.
That's all. We don't give
Yes.
no 50.
45.
What was with the 50 if we gave you 50? It's impossible.
45.
Okay, our resolution will
45.
next. What will be the case?
45%. You must be. You must be protected.
45. Okay, we're ready.
45?
Our resolution is 4.
Короче, 40. Everything will be okay if they 45. 45 and say 45. 45. Here and here in their borders, and you have here in border of your land. If you will begin this part, you will be
United States makes a motion for unrelated topics for 5 minutes.
Any other points or motions on the floor at this time? All delegates in favor of the 5-minute unmoderated caucus, please raise your hand. The floor is
I can show you.
I can show you. If you will be debate, with Google Read and with
USA.
Israel and USA, she said we will give you this point of land, this point 45%. Good. We will be
we are how intelligent. Very good. We do how houses, we will protect. Our plan is houses, we will protect, show our position, and will be the big if they are not. If they are not, don't joke. Don't joke. We will debate if they don't agree with our plan. Yes, really good to listen, and it will be helpful for refugee. Why I say about this border? Because in this border live many refugees. If we will protect this land and Israel will give this part, where refugee will be calm, and we will be now it's Gaza. We will be Gaza here, Gaza will be houses. We will kind of return there. Will be there will be give this part. We will be give this part for Israel. This part. I understand. I say because you say this part. We will be taking this.
Dear delegate, your time is up. You can make your state.
Please remember to speak up so that members of the audience can hear you. At this time, the chair asks sponsors of draft resolution 1.1 to present to the committee.
Good day again, dear honorable delegates. So, alarmed by conflict between Israel and Palestine, we, as said before, want to support Palestine to turn their place. We can see from this map the territory of Palestine before in 1946, but today the territory is like this. So, contemplating that Palestine that should be sovereign and should have its independent country, and also emphasizing that Palestine has an old history, and it was from the 4th BCE. Having heard about negotiations, we also want to call up all countries to general assemblies. So the most important thing that we want to do is with Israel is to take 45% of land, and it will be very good because it's fair, because before we had a lot of land, but now not.
Also, according to our resolution, we want to make Jerusalem capital of two countries, Palestine and Israel. Also, we want to exchange the refugees which are living in Jordan and in another country, and we want to exchange along these two territories. Also, we want to invite other delegates to support Palestine to build its government again, and to support refugees who lost their home and family to rebuild their life and rebuild their homes. Also, we want financially support from other countries to give another chance to Palestine to build its country again.
Thank you. Our resolution is to find a compromise in this problem. And having started the conflict between Israel and Palestine, realizing the consequences of this long-lasting conflict, we decided to organize a negotiation process between two conflicted countries. We have talked to delegates and the representatives of Palestine states and decided to return 45% of Israel land to Palestine. And as you see on this map of 1947 year, before there were attacking wars, Jerusalem is ready to return this land to Palestine territory. It's like 45%. Palestine, on its behalf, will return this territory. Will just exchange this territory to this with Israel. And also we want to say that let's take hands off from these two countries' relationship and just put them face to face and let them to talk.
And I want to mention that in our negotiations between Israel and Palestine, no one can have an influence which part of the land we will separate to two sides. The delegation of Israel and Palestine should both come to face and decide which land they want, and maximum we can give them 45%.
Thank you for attention.
Okay, 2 delegates speaking for each draft resolution and 2 delegates speaking against it before moving into the voting procedure. So if there are 2 delegates who would volunteer at this time to speak on behalf of, in favor of resolution 1.1, please raise your placards high. And if there are 2 delegates wishing to speak against draft resolution 1.1, raise your placards. So could the first delegate speaking on behalf of draft resolution 1.1, you have 45 minutes to speak. Sorry, seconds. 45 seconds to speak.
When they say about their position and they can give for us 45% of land, we was agree with this and want to the return in 1948 and they give for us more place than now. In a picture where was shown for us. In this picture, we have not many place for live. That's why we will decide 45 and 60. International city. It wouldn't be correct to 2 nations because we don't know the people would have some bad relationship with each other and it would be cause of another problems. Thank you.
If the second delegate speaking in favor of draft resolution 1.1, take the floor. Delegate from India.
With the Australian delegate, and I just want to say that as Israel's delegate mentioned, that there would be a conflict between the Jewish citizens, citizens, because there are religion difference and others. But no, they are living in peace till our days.
And now the second delegate speaking against draft resolution 1.1.
As is mentioned in draft resolution 1.1, Jerusalem, they decided to make Jerusalem a common capital of 2 countries. It is Israel and Palestine. The delegation of United States saying that it's impossible to do because we can't make a common capital because the fightings, armed conflicts will continue between these two states. Instead, we can do Jerusalem as an independent city, which is not belonging to any territory and will be a property of United Nations organizations.
Thank you to the delegates. The committee will now move into the voting procedure for draft resolution 1.1. The chair reminds the committee that a delegation can either vote for, against, or abstain from voting on a draft resolution. All delegates wishing to vote for draft resolution 1.1, wishing to vote in favor, please raise your placards high. All delegates, thank you. All delegates wishing to vote against draft resolution 1.1, raise your placards high. Thank you. All delegations wishing to abstain from voting for draft resolution 1.1. If there are two delegates wishing to speak against draft resolution 1.2. If the first delegate speaking in favor of draft resolution 1.2 would take the floor, you have 45 seconds.
As I mentioned before, we had Palestine has a lot of lands, but today not. So also we are for negotiations between other countries and to come up with a new negotiation and new agreement and in this part and found financially Palestine in order to rebuild his country.
Thank you. If the first delegate is speaking against draft resolution 1.2, you have 45 seconds to speak now. Speaking against.
The delegations, I want to speak against this war. It has been ongoing 70 years and it hasn't done any result and any peace during this period of time. And according to their resolutions, they want to organize a negotiation, and I'm not sure that it will get a result because two countries has two ideas and two different positions.
And now, if the second delegate speaking for draft resolution 1.2.
We have agreed with the position of Israel and the other position because they are give for us 45% of land. We agree with this part of land because in border other country we have many refugees. If we will take back our land, the refugee will become for motherland, and we can help for refugees, and we will be give this part of Israel for because if it will be one country in one land, it will be better for us, and we can control our land and help for refugees about food and others.
And now the second delegate speaking against draft resolution 1.2. Step up to the floor. You have 45 seconds. The second delegate wishing to speak against draft resolution 1.2. If there is no one to speak, we will move on to voting. The chair reminds the committee again that a delegation can either vote for, against, or abstain. So all delegations wishing to vote in favor of draft resolution 1.2, you could raise your placards high at this time. Raise your placards high. Against draft resolution 1.2.
Dear delegates, we should be for or against.
You may also abstain. Thank you. All delegations wishing to abstain from voting on draft resolution 1.2, raise your placards high. Thank you for debate. The committee will now move into a 20-minute recess to deliberate on delegate awards.